I can already hear the Linux fanboys screaming at their monitors. Yes, it is true. As of 2024, the beginning of this year, I have fully swapped all of my creator work for YouTube over from my Windows PC to my Mac, which includes all of my product testing. And there are some fantastic reasons for this, so before you yell at me and call me names, let's talk about some of those reasons. So this is one of the first reasons I started making the switch over last year. Being chained to the Adobe suite of programs sucks, and I'm not a massive fan of Premiere Pro to top it all off. I find Final Cut Pro to be way easier to use for my videos, and honestly, the learning curve wasn't all that difficult. To add to that, the purchase price for it was way easier to swallow than the constant monthly price for the Adobe suite. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still somewhat chained to the Adobe wheel of pain for certain things, but the big reliance was on Premiere Pro and the general workflow. I'm still weaning myself off Adobe as we speak, but finding a replacement for Audition has proven to be harder than first thought. I know, I hear all the recommendations coming in, but don't worry, I'm getting there. The shift is more for the podcast editing side of my business, and that will be a monumental switch since there's way more money at stake there. So, that change is on the way. We'll see when it happens, but it might take some time. Now, I should say that one of the most diabolical things about the Creative Cloud suite is how usable it is and how difficult it is to leave. I mean, still looking for a replacement for Photoshop, and I know Canva is good, but hasn't quite done it for me yet. Now, this might seem a little silly for a reason to swap my whole setup, but hear me out. First off, I should tell you what my actual setup is. I use an M2 Mac Mini at my editing desk as my main editing rig, and I record my videos with a 15-inch M2 MacBook Air for my audio capture. Now, this style has been my process for some time, and until I move over to a professional camera, I can't see it changing anytime soon. And before, when I was straight PC, I used a NAS to transfer finished files from one PC to another, as setting up networks and shared folders on PC has always been a nightmare for me. I know it's possible, but I hate maintaining both. Now, once my NAS became way too slow as a go-between, I started using Google Drive. Upload on one end, download on the other. Again, I don't need to hear about all the other options that are from PC to PC. I know they exist, but much like everything else PC, they are annoying to set up and annoying to maintain, and I am no networking god. Anyhow, AirDrop has become my all-time favorite way to transfer. Literally, done recording, share, and all of a sudden the audio is on the other side of the room on my Mac Mini. When I'm done recording, I can just slot the SD card in and do the same with the video. I've literally taken 5 or 6 steps out of my process with just that. And when you're streamlining a process to make for an easier time and better turnaround, 5 to 6 steps is massive. And there's no setup. There's no maintaining it. It just works. Oh, hey, I need to edit over a holiday when I'm away from home. I can just AirDrop my whole project folder and take it on the road. Just that one feature alone has made this switch worth it. And yes, it was expensive, but the time I've freed up, I'm already making that money back. And with all that away from home talk, let's talk performance. Now, I don't want to get into a pissing match about PC versus Mac and the performance, but one thing is literally a no-brainer, and that is on-the-road performance. Now, there's my PC laptop. It's an ROG Strix with a Ryzen 7 4800H and an RTX 3060. Now, for you non-computer nerds, that's a pretty decent computer from a couple years ago. It easily chomps through the workload that I can throw at it, and frankly, it's a wonderful computer for many of the things I used it for. But then you have the M2 MacBook Air, also a great computer, and easily chomps through the work that I give it. So what's the difference then? When working on a project, or frankly anything other than browsing Twitter, the battery is fully drained within an hour on my ROG Strix. That is, well, because PC hardware is hungry for power. Then you have the MacBook Air. It will keep going for hours and hours on a full charge. Sure, it can take a chunk out of the battery when you're doing video editing, but nowhere near as much as when you're doing it on the Windows laptop. Also, when I do have to charge, this is my option for my laptop, and this is my option for my MacBook Air. Any questions? And here's where we talk about why I'm using this for my testing. Now, I have fought back on this for some time, but the cruel truth is that companies are now using the Mac platform for the development of products and then just porting them over to PC later. Meaning the best case scenario for getting the vast majority of products available to work these days is just to use them on Mac. There's no ASIO drivers. There's no drivers at all. Just plug the bloody thing in and go. And when your old testing PC laptop literally just went down and stopped working from all the bloody drivers on it, well, this just made the switch even easier. And this has been an issue for this channel since the very beginning. My first video on the Rodecaster Pro is I returned it because of the drivers. And it just seems that this is going to be how gear is developed in the future. Sure, it will work on PC, but if you really want it to work to its fullest potential, get a Mac, which is annoying, don't get me wrong. But I should also point out again, I'm a PC guy. I'm a nerd. I build my own PCs. I like to game. But since this is now my job, I have to treat my experience accordingly. Now, I do have to say, I will still have my main PC. I'm still going to rebuild it. It's going to get better over time. So if things come up and they need to be tested on PC, I do still have that ability and I will still retain that ability. But otherwise, for the foreseeable future, I'm sticking to Mac. Let me know what you think though. Let's finally solve this down below. PC or Mac? I'm sure the comments are going to be delightful. Also, you can hear the Linux people again screaming at their monitors.